So, last weekend, I, 28M, went out to dinner with my friend Jess, 27F, at this trendy new bistro in town, the Rusty Anchor. It's one of those places with Edison bulbs and overpriced cocktails, but we'd heard the food was killer, so we gave it a shot. The place was packed and the vibe was lively, think clinking glasses and loud chatter. We were seated at a small table near the bar and our waiter, let's call him Chad, came by to take our drink orders. From the start, Chad seemed checked out. He barely made eye contact, mumbled the specials like he was reading a script, and didn't even crack a smile when Jess made a light-hearted joke about needing caffeine to survive the week. We ordered drinks, a beer for me, a mojito for Jess, and he vanished. It took 15 minutes for our drinks to show up, and when they did, Jess's mojito was basically mint-flavored water. She politely asked for a new one, and Chad sighed like it was a personal attack before taking it back. Things didn't get better. We ordered our food, steak for me, salmon for Jess, and it took almost an hour to arrive. I get that the place was busy, but I saw Chad leaning against the bar scrolling on his phone multiple times while we waited. Other tables were getting their food faster, and he was chatting up a group of regulars like they were his buddies. When our food finally came, my steak was overcooked, more like shoe leather than medium rare, and Jess's salmon was cold. We tried to flag Chad down to address it, but he was nowhere to be found for another 10 minutes. When he finally strolled over, I calmly explained the issues. He shrugged and said, "Kitchen slammed, man, what do you expect?" No apology, no offer to fix it. Jess, who's way more patient than me, even tried to give him an out by asking if he could just heat her plate up. He rolled his eyes and said he'd see what he could do. Spoiler, he didn't do anything. We ended up eating what we had because we were starving, but the whole experience was a letdown. When the bill came, $1.85 for 2 entrees, 2 drinks, and a shared appetizer, I decided not to leave a tip. I usually tip 20% or more, even for average service, because I know servers deal with a lot. But this was beyond bad. Chad barely did his job, and his attitude made it clear he didn't care. I wrote service was inattentive on the receipt and left the tip line blank. Jess was mortified. As we walked out, she said I was being cruel and that Chad was probably just having a bad night. She argued that servers rely on tips to survive and not tipping at all was too harsh, especially since the kitchen might have been the issue, not just Chad. I countered that tipping is for service and Chad's service was non-existent. Phone scrolling and eye rolling don't earn a reward in my book. Plus, I wasn't about to subsidize his attitude. We went back and forth and Jess said I could have at least left a small tip, like 5%, to show some empathy. I get where she's coming from, but I feel like rewarding bad service just perpetuates it. Now she's acting like I'm some heartless jerk and it's put a weird vibe between us. So Reddit, AITA for not tipping the waiter because he was inattentive even though my friend thinks I was cruel? Last night, I, 32F, went to a cozy Italian restaurant, La Bella Vita, with my coworker Maya, 29F, to celebrate her promotion. The place is known for its fresh pasta and moody ambience, dim candles, checkered tablecloths, the whole deal. I'd been there once before and loved it, so I was excited to try something new from their menu. I'm not a fan of mushrooms. It's not an allergy or anything, I just can't stand their texture. It's like chewing on soggy sponges. When I saw a creamy fettuccine dish with mushrooms listed as an ingredient, I figured I'd ask for it without them. The menu didn't say mushrooms were, like, the star of the dish, so I thought it'd be an easy tweak. Our server, a friendly guy named Luca, took our order. I asked, "Can you make the fettuccine without mushrooms?" Luca nodded, said he'd check with the kitchen, and came back a minute later confirming it was no problem. Cool, I thought. Maya ordered her gnocchi and we sipped our wine while catching up. About 20 minutes later, a man in a chef's coat, let's call him Chef Marco, brought our dishes out himself. He set Maya's plate down with a smile, but when he got to me, his vibe shifted. He placed my fettuccine in front of me and said, in a tone that felt half joking, half annoyed, "Here's your special order, no mushrooms." You must be pretty picky, huh? I was caught off guard and just laughed awkwardly, saying, "Oh, I just don't like them." He raised an eyebrow, muttered something about people changing perfectly good recipes, and walked back to the kitchen. Maya overheard and gave me a look like, "Yikes, what was that?" I tried to brush it off, but I felt embarrassed. The fettuccine was delicious, but the chef's comments stuck with me. I started wondering if I'd done something wrong by not explaining why I wanted the mushrooms left out. I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal or restaurants modify dishes all the time, right? But maybe I came off as high maintenance without realizing it. After dinner, I mentioned it to Maya and she said I shouldn't have asked for the change without a real reason, like an allergy. She thought Chef Marco was out of line to call me picky to my face, but she also said I might have seemed fussy by not giving context. I disagreed. I don't think I owe anyone a full explanation for not liking an ingredient, and his comment felt unprofessional. But now I'm second-guessing myself. Should I have said it was an allergy to avoid the judgment? Or was it fine to just ask for no mushrooms? So Reddit AITA for asking the chef to remove an ingredient without specifying it was an allergy even though he called me picky? Last Saturday, my friend Lila, 30F, invited me, 31M, to dinner to catch up after she got back from a work trip. Lila's always been the planner in our friend group, and she's super into finding hidden gem restaurants. This time, she picked a place called the Saffron Spoon, a new fusion spot that's been getting buzz on social media for its Indian-Mexican menu. She was hyped about it, texting me pics of their masala tacos and mango curry burritos all week. I was game to try it, but when we got there around 7 p.m., the place was a zoo. The tiny waiting area was packed, and there was a line spilling onto the sidewalk. Lila hadn't made a reservation, which surprised me since she's usually on top of that stuff. The host quoted us a 45-minute wait, which already felt like a drag, but Lila was all smiles, saying it'd be worth it for the vibe and the food. We stood outside, squeezed between a loud bachelorette party and a couple arguing about their dog. The wait dragged on. 45 minutes turned into an hour, then an hour and 15. I was starving, my feet hurt from standing, and the chilly evening wasn't helping. Lila kept chatting about her trip, but I was getting cranky and probably wasn't hiding it well. I checked my phone and saw the host skip over us to seat a group that arrived later, which pushed me over the edge. Finally, after an hour and 20 minutes, we got a table. The restaurant was cool-looking, colorful murals, funky lighting, but the menu prices were steep for what felt like glorified street food. We ordered. I got the masala tacos, Lila got a tikka quesadilla, and the food took another 25 minutes to come out. It was decent, honestly, but nothing mind-blowing enough to justify the wait or the $18 tacos. The server was frazzled and barely checked on us, which didn't help my mood. As we ate, I couldn't hold back. I said, Lila, no offense, but this place was a terrible choice. We waited forever, and the food's not even that great for the price. Lila's face fell. She said she thought I'd love the experience and that she picked it because it seemed like my kind of quirky spot. I doubled down, pointing out that she should have booked a table or at least checked if it was this crazy on weekends. She got quiet, then said, Wow, I planned this for us and you're just being ungrateful. I can't believe you're acting like this. The rest of dinner was awkward. She paid for her half, I paid for mine, and we barely talked on the way to the parking lot. Later, she texted me saying she felt hurt because she put effort into choosing a place she thought I'd enjoy and I trashed it without appreciating her gesture. I get that she tried, but I feel like a 90-minute wait with no reservation is objectively a bad call, and I was just being honest. Now I'm wondering if I was too harsh. Lila's sensitive and I know she loves curating these outings. But I also think I'm allowed to call out a bad experience, especially when I'm hangry and out $40 for tacos and a soda. So Reddit AITA for telling my friend her restaurant choice was terrible because of the long wait, even though she thinks I'm ungrateful? Last Friday, I, 26F, went out for a team dinner with 5 coworkers from my marketing firm. We just wrapped a big campaign and our boss suggested we celebrate at the Tipsy Raven, a gastropub known for its craft beers and hearty plates. I'm not a big eater and I've been trying to save money since my rent went up, so I was planning to keep it light. The place was buzzing, wooden tables, string lights, and a chalkboard menu that screamed $15 artisanal burger. We sat at a long table and everyone started ordering. My coworkers went all out, loaded nachos and wings to share, plus entrees like ribs, fish and chips, and a fancy mushroom risotto. They also got multiple rounds of drinks, IPAs, cocktails, you name it. I stuck to water and ordered a $12 garden salad with grilled chicken. I figured I'd enjoy the vibe without breaking the bank. Dinner was fun, with lots of laughs and campaign war stories. But when the bill came, things got weird. The total was $240 and one coworker, Sarah, 33F, suggested we split it evenly, $40 each. I hesitated because my salad and water were way less than everyone else's share. I said, hey, I only had a salad, so I'd rather just cover my part. I offered to throw in $15 to cover my salad plus tax and a tip. Sarah rolled her eyes and said, it's easier to just split it, come on. The others chimed in, saying it's standard for group dinners and I was making it complicated. I held firm, explaining I didn't drink or eat the apps, and $40 felt steep for a $12 salad. Another coworker, Mike, 29M, laughed and called me petty, saying I was nickel-and-diming the group over a few bucks. I felt my face heat up but stuck to my guns, Venmo ing $15 to Sarah for my share. The table got quiet and the vibe turned awkward. Sarah sighed and said, "Fine, we'll figure it out," and they all started calculating to cover the rest. I felt like the bad guy, but I didn't see why I should subsidize their beers and ribs. We left soon after, and the group chat's been weirdly silent since. On Monday, Mike made a snarky comment at work about me counting croutons, and now I'm wondering if I was wrong to push back. I get that splitting evenly is simpler, but my budget's tight, and I didn't consume half of what they did. Still, I hate being seen as the cheap one, and I don't want this to mess up work dynamics. So Reddit, AITA for not splitting the bill equally because I only had a salad even though my coworkers called me petty? Yesterday, I-29M stopped by a local cafe, the Copper Kettle, during my lunch break. It's a hip spot in my neighborhood, exposed brick, mismatched chairs, and a chalkboard menu with fancy lattes. I'd been there a few times and liked their sandwiches, so I figured I'd grab a quick bite before heading back to work. I'm a graphic designer and I had a tight deadline, so I only had about 40 minutes to spare. The cafe was busy but not packed, maybe half the tables were full and there were 2 people ahead of me in line. I ordered a turkey club sandwich and an iced coffee, paid $16, and stepped to the side to wait. The barista, a woman with a nose ring, said it'd be just a few minutes. I checked my phone, 12:15 p.m. No problem, I thought, plenty of time. 10 minutes passed and nothing. I saw the barista chatting with a coworker while steaming milk, and the guy at the sandwich station was moving at a snail's pace, rearranging ingredients like he was staging a photo shoot. Meanwhile, a couple who ordered after me got their pastries and drinks and left. I was getting antsy but figured it'd come soon. By 12:30, I still had no sandwich or coffee, and I was starting to stress about getting back to my desk. I approached the counter and asked the barista politely, "Hey, any update on my turkey club and iced coffee?" She glanced at the order screen and said, "Yeah, it's coming, we're just busy." I looked around, there were maybe 3 other orders being worked on, and the busy vibe felt more like disorganization. I said, "Okay, but I've been waiting 15 minutes and I'm on a lunch break." She just shrugged and went back to wiping the counter. At 12:35, I'd had enough. I needed to get back to work and I wasn't about to be late over a sandwich. I grabbed my bag, walked out, and headed to a deli across the street where I got a wrap in under 5 minutes. As I left the Copper Kettle, I heard the barista say to her coworker, loud enough for me to catch, "Wow, some people are so rude, just storming out like that." I also noticed the sandwich guy roll his eyes. I didn't say anything, but it stung. I wasn't trying to be a jerk, I just couldn't wait forever. Later, I told my coworker Priya, 27F, about it, and she said I was kind of in the wrong for bailing without telling the staff. She thought I should have asked for a refund or at least explained I was leaving, and that walking out might have made them think I was throwing a tantrum. I get her point, but I felt like I'd already tried checking in and they didn't seem to care. Plus, I wasn't about to beg for my order. Still, I'm wondering if I came off as entitled or rude by just dipping. So Reddit, AITA for leaving the cafe without waiting for my order because it was taking too long, even though the staff judged me for being rude?